Hello, this is Jason P. Wilson, Zero in X-Force, and this is my DC comic pull list, and this is my accumulation of all the DCs that don't have to do with the Night of the Owls, that I haven't posted yet because it's been a while since my last posting. So I've been putting together the series of videos to be completely caught up with all the comics that have come out since my last postings. First up here is one that I've been looking forward to, and that is #1 of the new Batman Incorporated. Now, I'm going to newest, and then I'm going to go ahead and do like groups. But I want to start with this one. This one just came out today. And I have to say, it's for those of you who don't follow Grant Morrison or Batman Incorporated, it might be a little confusing because they only got up to, I can't remember, but it was a very low number of issues when this was launched before they changed the new DCU. So now they have relaunched the whole DCU, of course, and they're starting at #1. So I guess you had to do it, but it definitely makes it confusing for people that are maybe wanting to get involved with the whole Grant Morrison Batman stuff. But with that said, I enjoyed Batman Incorporated when it was launched before the change. So I knew I was going to enjoy it. And I enjoy all Grant Morrison stuff, especially with Batman. I've been loving his stuff with Superman. So when this came out, I was expecting a lot. And again, I was very happy with what I read. In fact, this issue reminds me of when Grant Morrison was doing Batman and Robin way back when. That was some of my favorite Grant Morrison writing. I really enjoyed how he wrote Dick and Damian and their relationship, and the way that Grant Morrison kind of pushed that out. Of course, since then, someone else has taken over Batman and Robin, and they've been doing a great job with it, and I've really been enjoying it. But I'm really glad to see this. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. I definitely enjoyed the first launching of Batman Incorporated. It had really weird kind of new Bat people, if you want to say. Some good, some questionable in my personal opinion, but it was always interesting and fun. And then they relaunched it, and I was curious if they were going to continue with that. Yes and no. It seems to me it's more like when he was with Batman and Robin, like I was saying. It had that type of feel to it, and I really liked that. I really liked him starting out this way. Will it stay this way? I hope so. Will it become more like Batman Incorporated was initially? Maybe, and that would be okay. But I'd really prefer if he stayed like this type of tone, this type of storytelling. But only time will tell. Grant Morrison likes to mix it up, and I'll show you what you mean here. What I mean by that when I show you his action stuff. But I just wanted to show that one first. Definitely a very good pickup. Batman Incorporated #1. Definitely a comic people should be reading. It looks like it's going to be more Grant Morrison excellence. Okay, so next up here is #1 of Earth 2. I picked this up out of pure curiosity, and I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't enough for me probably to stay with it. Maybe I'll read it for a couple issues. I definitely like what they're doing with the whole idea of it. So that could change. It could be a must-read for me. Right now, it was just an interesting read, and one that I would keep my eye out for a trade. Kind of like with Earth 1. I liked Earth 1. It came out only in trade, of course. So for me, it was like that. It was like, yes, I'll pick it up in trade. Don't think I'm gonna be picking up at singles. But it was well done. Artwork was okay. Story was well written. Next up here, and after this I'll be doing groups, is GI Combat, The War That Time Forgot. Kind of like Earth 2, I was just curious about it. I wanted to pick it up. It's 2 stories, kind of like how Men of War was, with the 2 continuing stories. This actually, the first one was about the dinosaurs. Some stuff's going on in North Korea. American soldiers intervene, and there's dinosaurs. The artwork was really well done. Very, very pretty artwork. But because they have another story in there, it was like a real quick, give you a little taste, and then it was over. Probably would have enjoyed it more if maybe I read it in graphic novel form, because that's the quality of the artwork. The artwork is really, really nice, and when it's released, I would think maybe in a graphic novel form, that will really shine, because the artwork is that good for the first story. But the story itself was just barely there, so I don't know if I'll be reading more, but again, I will keep my eye out for a trade. It is something that was interesting enough to read. I just don't like the way they're going about it. The second part of the story was The Unknown Soldier. It was a more serious tone and had a more classic art style. It wasn't as pretty as the first story. It was more gritty because it fit the material. And it was interesting, but not as interesting as I would need it to be for me to continue with this comic. So, interesting, but for me, I'm not going to be picking up more. First up here, Action Comics, number 7, 8, and 9. I'll hold 9 for after, but continues Grant Morrison's excellence on Superman Action Comics. The way he's been doing Action Comics kind of reminds me of the miniseries he did, All-Star Superman. Has that type of feel to it, and that's a good thing. That was one of the best Superman runs in recent memory until now. Action Comics is definitely a must-read Superman title. Even if you don't read Superman, you should be reading Action. At first I was reading Action and Detective, and I was glad to be reading Action because I don't read a lot of super titles right now, but I read a lot of Batman. So I ended up ended reading Detective because I was trying to make room for other comics, which is hard because I love having the legacies in my pickups. It was really good, it was well done, but I was reading so much Batman stuff, it just wasn't at the top of the heap for all the excellence that the Batman titles are. So that one I ended up cutting, but I held on to this, and Grant Morrison is definitely the reason for that. I love what he's doing with the character. I love the way he's telling the story. I've been enjoying the artwork, the different artists that have been on the book, and most of all, of course, I've been enjoying Grant Morrison. And no one writes Superman stuff like Grant Morrison, and I think his next title shows that. Number 9 was one of the most interesting Superman titles I've read. This is of Earth 23. Of course, they have the ability to do this with all the Earths they have in DC. But we basically, the looks like a job for Superman. Classic. But of course, Superman's African American in this world, and so was Wonder Woman. And I thought the story was really good. I thought it was really something that I was not expecting this. I know a lot of people will say, oh yeah, what the stuff's going on with Ultimate Spider-Man, blah blah blah. Well, yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man is very good, and I do enjoy reading it. But Grant Morrison's is so original, and everything he puts out is like, you really don't know what to expect next. But then, as wild as things might get, they're all connected, and you'll end up reading something, 15 issues that connect to something with issue number 2 or 3, 15 issues before. So that's what I really like when I read Grant Morrison stuff. and Action Comics is no exception. It's been some of his best work. Been loving the heck out of it. And next up is the other excellence that is DC, and that is Justice League. Issues 7 and 8. Well done. Even though Lee was not on these issues, and I really wasn't expecting to see Lee anytime soon. I was really disappointed that his run was as short as it was. But I still was really enjoying Justice League. I think Jeff Johns, who is the other great writer in DC, besides, of course, Morrison. There are a lot of good writers right now at DC, though. But he's another must-read comic writer. And he's been doing great jobs with Justice League, and 7 and 8 are no exception. I don't read Green Arrow, so it was cool to have Green Arrow in this issue right here. These weren't quite what they were before, but it still was very good. And then I was happy to see the next issue, number 9. Jim Lee's back here. How long is he going to be here? I have no idea. I just was not expecting to see him back with Jeff Johns. This was a really good issue. I don't know if John saves his best writing for when Lee does the artwork, but that seems to be the case. For some reason, this one just was written better than the others, and I am enjoying it. Some people aren't really caring about the whole Shazam stuff, but it's not quite the Shazam that I really liked. I really like Shazam. Like, I don't know if any of you have seen the Superman versus the Black Adam Shazam animated movie. It was like a bunch of shorts put together plus another short from DC Animation. But basically, I really enjoyed that kind of Shazam. Bobby being just a really nice person, just a really good person. In this Shazam, they kind of make him a tough guy, and I don't know. It's okay. I just liked him more gentle. He stood up for people, but he always lost, like he was a little kid. And then he became Shazam, so that really worked for me. This, he's kind of a tough kid. He's like almost like he fights like Robin, basically. So I would have preferred them staying with the way he used to be, but I understand they're trying to mix it up and everything. But I've still been enjoying Shazam. I always liked the character. Even though I would probably prefer Shazam to be in a separate comic, and I would read that, that's probably what they'll end up doing. I would really prefer that these were all Justice League, because Justice League has been that good, and especially with issue number 9. Excellent. I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to number 10, and really hoping that Jim Lee sticks around for a while. And next up are my other Johns, and that is, of course, Jeff Johns with Aquaman. Aquaman has been excellent right out of the gate. I wasn't reading Green Lantern when Johns revitalized it. I picked it up on trades, and it got to the point where I'm just always reading trades, and I started to pick up with the whole relaunching, but since it really was a continuation of stuff from before, it didn't really relaunch. It was just the numbers. I ended up stopping those, even though they were excellent, just so I could continue to catch up with the trades. So when I heard he was going to be doing the same thing, Aquaman, I jumped on, and I've been enjoying the ride ever since. Really, really fun stuff. The artwork is not always my favorite, but it does a job. Sometimes it does a really good job. Other times it just does enough. But the writing is excellent. I think the art right now is probably the best it's been. Very solid. I do like this whole hunting Odyssey thing for Mantis, Black Mantis, and basically, that's what happens at the end of the newest one that just came out today. It looks like the next issue we're going to actually see what we've been waiting to see. Black Mantis and Aquaman, Mano a Mano. So, excellent title. I definitely have been enjoying this. If you haven't been reading it so far, either pick up the last few issues and start reading now, or just go ahead and pick it up on trade. But this is definitely a comic people should be reading. Excellent stuff. Next up here is a comic that is dear to my heart, and that is the new Wonder Woman. I really enjoy the writing. It's been excellent, and the art has been great. When Cliff Chang is doing it, Cliff Chang absolutely is the best artist on this book. There's something about his art style, it just brings the pages alive. I said that when I reviewed his work before. He's the artist that launched with the book, but then another artist took over, and then he would do some, and then I think I have to give him a break kind of a thing. But I'm always glad when I see his name on the cover. I know I'm in for a treat, and there's no exception here with issues number 7 and number 8. The newest issue, unfortunately, he did not do, but this artist that takes over for him still does a good job. It's just not quite the excellence that I believe Chang does. Still, I think his name was Tony Atkins. He does a good job still. He does a good job. He tries to have that type of feel and style, so you're not feeling like you're not pulled away from the storytelling because the art's different. It's still good. It's just not as good. Excellent. You know, I'm going to be making some cuts again, and I always put this on there because, well, say I can read Wonder Woman in Justice League, but then I'll read an issue and I'll just be like, oh man, this is so good. You know, I've said this 100 times before. It's basically Xena Warrior Princess mixed in with Diane Troy. So you really are getting something that is really different than the Wonder Woman that you get in Justice League. So for me, that always justifies me getting this. And yes, for those of you who are looking for a really unique take on Wonder Woman, it almost reminds me of Incredible Hercules. It's not campy and funny like that, but it definitely focuses on the whole God's twist on Wonder Woman, rather than her superhero status with like Justice League and stuff. So it's a really unique flavor, and I can't recommend reading Wonder Woman more than I am. Excellent series. And I would say it would only be second on the female DCs to this one. And that is, of course, Batwoman. Issues 7 and 8. The excellence continues. I'm always excited about Batwoman. I always expect a lot, and I have never been disappointed. Here we're 9 issues in, and it's as good as it's ever been. And even though Williams can't always do the art, the artists that take over for him do a great job. Great job. Again, it's not quite as good as him, but they don't take away from the story. They're excellent in their own right, and you don't feel pulled out at all. I think DC has probably been doing the best job of that, where some of my favorite comics with Marvel, like Hulk for instance, the artwork really takes away from the excellent storytelling. For all DC titles, the art always enhances the storytelling, and there's a lot of great storytelling over here in DC. Batwoman number 9. I mean, look at these covers, right? Usually the covers are the best looking part in a book, but not in this case. These beautiful covers are paled from the beautiful artwork that is within the pages, and I can't say that about probably any other comic. Batwoman is a must-read. If you only get one Bat book, I probably still would say it's Scott Snyder's Batman, but if you're getting two, Batwoman's number 2. Excellent, excellent stuff here. And last but not least, now these came out a while ago, I just wanted to talk about them, and that's the Batman Beyond. I reviewed 1 a while ago, and of course 2 and 3 are out. 4 may have come out, but I'm not sure about that. I'm not going to pick it up, I don't think, just because it's an expensive book, and I have so other great books. But it's not because it isn't good, it's very good. If you ever watch the television series, if you love the television series, this is probably a must-read. The art is very much like the animated series. There's a lot of similarities. You definitely have the same feel like when you were watching the original Batman Beyond. It has a certain flavor to it. That flavor is in between these pages. And these are always really thick books. Like, even though it's a $4 book, you're getting a lot here. Not only are you getting Batman Beyond, but you're also getting Justice League Beyond. And lately, we've been getting Superman Beyond. And I do like the Justice League stuff in Beyond, but it's not as good as the Superman stuff. My favorite is when they have Batman Beyond and Superman Beyond together. Really, really good. Excellent stuff. I've been very impressed with it. All of this Beyond stuff they've been doing a good job with. I enjoyed the Superman Beyond before when it was launched, and I really liked it when it was with the Batman Superman. They had the kind of issues that were about Superman of the future and Batman Beyond. Those are excellent issues. So you're getting a lot of that right here. If you're looking for something different, if you're looking for really good writing and vibrant artwork, this is probably one you should consider. Batman Beyond has a very high recommendation for me. And with that said, those are my DC books. And next up, I'm going to be posting are my DC Night of the Owls. And with that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.